Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. Get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio to lose weight for the last time. Visit myphdweightloss.com.
Latest swing state poll suggests Donald Trump could score decisive victory against Kamala Harris. We have the latest polling numbers released just yesterday. The White House wants you to know that Kamala Harris was in the room. The White House has increasingly promoted Vice President Kamala Harris's role in foreign policy since President Joe Biden's decision that he wouldn't run for re-election. This, according to a Politico review of transcripts and other official documents. It's kind of interesting how the White House has suddenly gotten interested in promoting the idea that Kamala Harris is always by Joe Biden's side. Speaking of Vice President Kamala Harris, a video has gone viral with her new Detroit accent, some calling it her Foghorn Leghorn accent. And the NCAA has blocked Oklahoma State University's plan to raise NIL, name, image, likeness funds, by placing QR codes on players' helmets. Just another example of how these player payments have become quite controversial. Also, Philadelphia Eagles are investigating a fake political advertisement endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris for the 2024 presidential election. It's been circulating on social media. They have asked the promoters to take it down.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Vice President Kamala Harris held on to a slight polling lead but failed to see a boost after the Democrat National Convention in August. This is according to an ABC News Ipsos poll that was released yesterday. Now, this is quite unusual because most often, and I had been telling you to expect a boost because historically that's what happens. A candidate has his or her national convention, they get a boost in polling, and then reality sets in, and in most cases, Labor Day comes around, the campaign season kicks off, and then we see that honeymoon period go away. Kamala Harris's lead over former President Donald Trump has remained essentially unchanged at 50% support among registered voters, while Donald Trump's support is lingering around 46%. Now, this is according to some national polls. However, voters still trust Trump over Harris to handle some of the key issues that are on our minds. For example, the economy and immigration as we head into November, which is a good sign for Donald Trump. Gary Langer, president of Langer Research Associates, said in a statement, the race between them remains close, with no overall bounce in support for Harris out of her nominating convention, albeit with a wider gender gap. He said Trump, too, was bounce-free after his convention in July, indicating the locked-in nature of their highly polarized contest as it enters its final 2 months. Harris is currently leading Trump nationally by 1.8 points, according to Real Clear polling averages. Some of the notations on this, President Joe Biden was leading Trump at this point in the race by over 7 points in 2020, and former Democrat candidate Hillary Clinton was leading by over 4 points, which should tell you this is just an indicator that polls don't necessarily matter, do they? Because here you had two different races. 2016, Hillary Clinton was up by 4 points. Everybody just assumed Hillary Clinton was going to win. Donald Trump devastated her. 2020, of course, we all thought Donald Trump had it in the bag. And Joe Biden squeezes the win out at the last minute. Now, again, keep in mind there were some irregularities there with voting. And we're in the middle of a pandemic. But again, if these two polls, or these 2 years, polling in these 2 years is any indicator, it's a toss-up. We don't know right now. Trump is favored over Harris because of a number of different issues. As I mentioned, the economy. Most Americans, every single time, have said that they trust Donald Trump to turn our economy around, to fight inflation over Kamala Harris. Same thing with the immigration. Trump is also more trusted to handle the Israel-Hamas conflict by 9 to 7 points respectively. Langer said in the statement, that said, not all issues are created equal. To the extent the focus is on the economy, Trump benefits, not a surprise given the 40-year high in inflation that occurred on Biden's watch, which is, of course, transferring over to Kamala Harris. Voters favor Harris to handle issues like health care, protecting American democracy by 7 points, and gun violence by 6 points, according to the poll. Harris and Trump are trusted equally to handle crime and safety. That doesn't quite make sense either. I can't imagine how anyone would trust Kamala Harris to handle crime and safety. The ABC News Ipsos poll surveyed just over 2,000 adults between August 23rd and August 27th. It has a 2 percentage point margin of error. Now, other new surveys from 7 battleground states show a scenario where Donald Trump could win in November with a decisive 296 electoral votes on the map. Now, here's how they get there. And let's start with Trafalgar Group, which polled between August 28th and August the 30th. They see Trump sweeping 44 electoral votes from the pivotal blue wall states in November, eking out narrow wins in Michigan and Pennsylvania. And we all know you got to win Pennsylvania and Wisconsin inside the poll's margin of error. Insider Advantage handled polling in 4 other battleground states between August 29th and 31st, with Arizona, Nevada, and North Carolina also going to Trump. To be sure that each of these states remain a statistical dead heat, meaning they could ultimately go either way come Election Day, and that's what we're counting on. Because what I think we're going to see is another 2016 where people are so enthusiastic about getting something done, turning this mess around, that they're going to show up for Donald Trump. Now, polling is a departure from recent polling that shows that Vice President Kamala Harris was making grounds in some of those states that we just talked about. Leading up to her convention, immediately following the idea that she was going to be the nominee, you saw her kind of slowly inching up in some of those polls. That has stopped, which indicates the honeymoon is over. Some examples. Trafalgar talks about the Wolverine state. Has the former president scoring a narrow victory 47% to 46%. Pennsylvania shows a wider Trump lead by 2 percentage points. Trump leading 47% to 45%. The Wisconsin race, according to Trafalgar, splits the two extremes, with Trump over Harris 47 to 46, though that margin seems narrow considering that Trump won the state by 0.77% in 2016, but lost it by 0.63% in 2020. He's going to win Wisconsin. I just have faith in the people in Wisconsin. Let's go to Arizona. Trump leads 49 to 48%. This you've got 11 electoral votes up for grab in Arizona. This is a small margin, granted. But again, you see the excitement, you see the campaign rallies that Donald Trump is holding in these states, and you've got 15, 20, 30, in some cases 40,000 people showing up. That has to mean something. A 9.5% lead with independents buoys Trump in Nevada with a 48-47% lead, where 6 electoral votes are at stake. Trump again lost that state in both 2016 and again in 2020. So you got all these states that Trump lost in both 2016 when he won and 2020 when Joe Biden supposedly won. And Trump has a narrow margin there now. That's got to be a good sign. Now, we still got to vote. We still got to get people out to vote, and early voting is going to be starting in some states very soon. Let's come to our area here in the Southeast. North Carolina. Trump leads Harris 49 to 48%. less than 1.34% margin of victory he's secured in 2020. And despite Harris's leading with independents 50% to 46%, he could take all 16 electoral votes in the Tar Heel state. Folks in western North Carolina who can hear me on 98.9 WORD, and those of you who listen to my podcast, Just the Truth, if you're in North Carolina, you got to go to work. We got to get people out. Same thing with my Georgia friends. Georgia, and I know some of you listen to me in Georgia, both on my podcast and on the radio. Georgia represents the only deviation, with Harris slightly up, 48% to Trump's 47.6%. There's 16 electoral votes in Georgia. We need Georgia, folks. We got to have Georgia. So this is a time that we get out, we work hard, and we bring on a win for Donald Trump.
Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Firmin Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. PhD Weight Loss wants you to know, yes, you can. You can get back to your ideal healthy weight. Yes, you can get back into sizes you thought you'd never see again. And yes, you can get rid of that harmful belly fat, all without becoming dependent on medication loaded with side effects. Hi, it's Joey Hudson here. PhD Weight Loss encourages and equips you to lose weight the healthy, natural way and keep it all for the rest of your life. Dr. Ashley Lucas, a licensed registered nutritionist, developed a solid plan that works. Trust me, I lost 30 pounds. You see, PhD Weight Loss removes the guesswork. They literally tell you exactly what to eat each day while you watch the pounds melt away. But they also teach you to think about food differently and to learn to anticipate and navigate situations that make you want to indulge. PhD coaches will teach you to believe finally that yes, you can do it. With no gimmicks or lifelong medications, finally lose the weight and keep it off. Yes, you can. Call today. PhD Weight Loss, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com.
DirecTV subscribers have lost access to Disney entertainment channels. Are you a DirecTV subscriber? Did you think maybe you were missing some channels over the weekend? These include ABC and ESPN after the two companies failed to reach a new rights agreement. Now, doesn't this just irritate you? When you subscribe, and look, DirecTV is not inexpensive. I used to have their service. I no longer have DirecTV. Full disclosure. I have YouTube TV, and it's not an endorsement, it's just a fact. I got tired of DirecTV pulling these same stunts. The blackout began Sunday night. It significantly impacted sports fans because it interrupted ESPN's coverage of the U.S. Open. It blacked out the LSU-USC college football game. And if you were interested in either of those, you're pretty disappointed right now that you spent hundreds of dollars for this service, and you weren't able to get these channels and watch some of the program that you were planning to watch simply because they couldn't come to terms with Disney Entertainment on some channels. And this is not unusual. This happens quite a bit. This is similar to a standoff from last year, which lasted almost 2 weeks. You remember that? This blackout has prompted some viewers to consider cord cutting, so to speak, potentially ending their cable satellite subscriptions due to these ongoing rights dispute. And why wouldn't you? That's kind of why I got frustrated and cut the cord as well. There's a lot of options out there, and I think TV is changing, isn't it? I mean, how often do you watch something on an app with another service like Netflix or Prime TV or Pluto? For example, just recently, the Mike Gallagher Show and other Salem News Channel shows started being broadcast on Pluto. I wasn't even familiar with Pluto. Didn't know what Pluto was. It's a pretty good service. Just like Samsung's Samsung Plus. There are a lot of options out there, and so about a year ago when I started thinking about this, and I got frustrated because I wasn't able to get certain channels because of these contract disputes, I started investigating other options. And in my case, YouTube TV happened to be the best option for me. And it's not as expensive as DirecTV was. But there are other options out there that you don't even have to pay for. I mean, Pluto TV, and this, again, it's not an endorsement of Pluto. They just happen to start carrying the Salem News Channel, but it's totally free. And as I started exploring it because I wanted to watch Salem News Channel on it, boy, they have a lot to offer. Now, granted, there are things that you won't find on there, but my TV watching habits now has me watching different things on different apps and different networks. We watch Netflix for movies. We watch, now we do have to pay for Netflix. We watch Prime for certain other things. Prime is included in our Amazon Prime annual service. So in one sense, I'm not really paying additional for it. If you want to be a Prime member and get free shipping and that type of thing, it's just part of being part of that Prime membership. But TV is changing, isn't it? And companies like DirecTV need to probably get smart, because I have a feeling that more and more people are going to stop using these types of services to watch their TV, especially when you have more and more coming online, and all you have to do is have access to the internet, and you could watch them. Love to get your comments on that. Have you found yourself cutting the cord from DirecTV, and what are the other ones? Of course, there's regular cable, Comcast, Charter, those types of services. Dish TV. Have you cut the cord? Of course, we can't totally cut the cord. Well, I guess you could. You could just watch. A lot of people don't remember today when we had the antennas, and we just watched over the air. You can still do that. You can get an HD antenna and watch the local channels. Love to hear from you. Send me a quick text. Email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. The Philadelphia Eagles are addressing a fake political advertisement endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris for the 2024 presidential election. This circulated over the weekend on social media. The Eagles issued a statement clarifying that the animated poster showed Harris in an Eagles helmet. They made it clear that it's not an official ad from the team. They're working with their advertising partner to remove these counterfeit ads, they said. The fake poster reportedly seen at a Philadelphia bus stop labeled Harris as the, quote, official candidate of the Philadelphia Eagles, and included a link to the team's website for voting information. Now, if you went to the link, it was outdated information. It wasn't current. But still, for the low information voter, as some people are referred to, it might be a little tricky. If you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you might think, well, if the Philadelphia is supporting them, I will too. The poster is attributed to a street artist in the Philadelphia area named Winston Singh. He's known for using brand imagery to highlight societal issues. We'll see. Speaking of football, the NCAA has blocked Oklahoma State University's plan to raise NIL funds, NIL, name, image, likeness, these funds that are going to these young players. The NCAA has said that they cannot put their QR codes on players' helmets. The university announced the initiative last month, which would have allowed fans to scan the QR codes from their TV screens, linking them to a donation page. OSU's head coach, Mike Gundy, called it a revolutionary step forward. However, before OSU's season opener against South Dakota State this past weekend, the NCAA intervened, citing a rule that prohibits hashtags or social media handles on uniforms. OSU's athletic director, Chad Weinberg, expressed disagreement with the NCAA's decision, but stated that the school would comply with the ruling. What do you think about this? I mean, what do you think about these kids being paid to begin with for their name, their images, their likeness? But literally having an advertisement on their helmet that fans can scan and go to a page and make a donation? Is that what college football has come to? Are you okay with these college teams? Now, of course, they're not going to be able to do that now, but they'll find other creative ways of doing it. Do you want to make a donation to help support an individual player?
Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Firmin Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself if you're looking for a new appliance to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com.
On the text line, Jordan writes, hello, Joey. I hope you're having a great Labor Day. I was thinking all the way up until Election Day, we should bring back Thankful Thursdays, a little moral boost until we can take this country back. Stay safe out there today. Thank you, Jordan, and good idea. And for those of you who may be new listeners, I used to do a thing every Thursday. We called it Thankful Thursday. And you guys would email me, you would text me, you would call me with things that you were thankful for on Thursday. And you know, as bad as things can get sometimes, we can always think of something that we're thankful about. So, Jordan, we'll start Thankful Thursday. Tune in this Thursday, and it'll be our first Thankful Thursday as we kick that off between now and Election Day. Faye writes, Joey, this unrealized capital gains tax will pick all of our pockets. Kamala Harris hasn't a clue. She needs to fire her financial advisor for sure. She is just plain dumb, and dumb will vote for her. But I believe the Lord allowed Trump to survive the attempted assassination for a reason. You're right, Faye. This whole idea of taxing unrealized capital gains is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And that's just an example of how Kamala Harris thinks that you and I are not paying our fair share, and that the government should take our money and redistribute it, take our wealth and redistribute it. Kamala Harris, like Joe Biden, thinks that the government can spend endlessly, and they don't have a clue or don't seem to realize that their spending is exactly why we are experiencing high inflation right now. They either don't know it or they're ignoring it. And what common sense person would tax a gain that you haven't even realized yet? Appreciate your text messages. Yours is welcome as well. The South Carolina Supreme Court has set an interval of at least 35 days between each execution of death row prisoners. Now, we got wind just recently by a decision by the South Carolina Supreme Court that they had cleared the way for executions to start back in South Carolina. 4 death row inmates had challenged an existing law that allows for 3 different options for execution. Of course, the electric chair, Old Sparky as it's named, is the primary way. Also, lethal injection. And for years, lethal injection wasn't possible because the state was not able to purchase the drugs required. So they added firing squad a couple of years ago. These death row inmates had challenged this. The Supreme Court recently ruled that these additional ways of execution were not unconstitutional as claimed by the death row inmates, and that executions could start back. So now we're down to the mechanics of that and just who goes first, I guess. The court ruled on August 30th, a week after it issued the execution notice for inmate Freddie Owens, who was convicted for a murder in 1997. The ruling also listed the order in which 5 prisoners on death row will be receiving the next execution notices. So you've got Freddie Owens first, Richard Moore, who's 59, convicted of fatally shooting James Mahoney, a convenience store clerk, during a 1999 armed robbery in Spartanburg County. He would be next. Marion Bowman, 44, found guilty of fatally shooting an acquaintance, Candy Martin, in Dorchester County in 2001. Next would be Brad Sigmund from Greenville. He's 66. He was convicted of fatally beating his ex-girlfriend's parents, Gladys and David Lark. This is the man who literally beat his girlfriend's parents with a baseball bat, beat them to death. Next on the list would be Mikhail Mondi, 41, pleaded guilty to fatally shooting Captain James Myers, an Orangeburg police officer, in 2004. And then Stephen Bixby, 57, convicted of fatally shooting Abbeville County Sheriff's Deputy Danny Wilson and Abbeville County Magistrate's Constable Donnie Oots in 2003. The court's original order placed Bixby before Mondi. In an amended order the same day, the court changed the listing, and they say that they could potentially change this order again based on circumstances. Now again, South Carolina has not conducted an execution since 2011. On August 23rd, the state Supreme Court issued a death warrant for Owens with an execution date of September 20th, just a few weeks from now, as prescribed by the state law to take place 4 Fridays after the warrant is released. Owens is 46 years old, was found guilty at trial of fatally shooting Irene Graves, a Greenville convenience store clerk, while robbing the store with an accomplice in 1997. At his sentencing in 1999, Owens admitted to killing detention center cellmate Christopher Lee the day prior to the hearing. So this man has killed 2 people that we know of. One he was convicted of, one he admitted to. The court says that there has to be a minimum 35-day interval between South Carolina execution notices, so the next death warrant could come in late September, followed by an execution in late October, and then the schedule will start from there. The order signed by all 5 court justices states that the issuance of the next execution notices will be based on who has the oldest conviction that is not the subject of an execution hold. Among the reasons for a hold are related court appeals or a finding of the inmate's incompetency. I don't know that there are any of those that either of those could apply to. The ruling comes after 5 death row inmates asked a court for a minimum 91-day waiting period between executions, the state objecting, asking the court to set for at least 28 days. Now, you know, these, and I get the idea, nobody wants to die sooner than you have to, but if you're on death row and you know that you're going to die, sooner than later, you're probably not going to die of natural causes. Wouldn't you want to just go ahead and get it over with? I mean, and I don't know, I doubt that these inmates are paying these attorneys to do these appeals. I suspect some bleeding heart liberal organization is probably footing the bill for this. But why waste everyone's time? Why waste the court's time, waste the prison time, and ask for a 91-day waiting period instead of the typical 35-day? Because they know that it's going to take a little time for the court to take up the case and for the judges to read the documents, to read the appeal, and then issue an order. Now, the inmates in their August 24th motion said that shorter gaps between executions would increase the risk of serious error in the execution process and lead to hurried legal resolutions of any last-minute issues. Well, you know, these men have been on death row for a long, long time. What could they possibly, what mistakes could be made now? Again, Richard Moore was convicted back in 1999. Marion Bowman, 2001. Brad Sigmund, 2001. Mr. Maudie, Mikhail Maudie, 2004. Stephen Bixby, 2003. Don't you think by now the courts have heard every potential appeal that could possibly be there? This is just a waste of time. We got to move forward so that these victims' family can get some closure and move on. Move on. God bless them. Bless their soul. I hope that they, during these 20-plus years or more, that they've gotten right with God. And if they haven't, rather than spending time with attorneys and talking about strategy with attorneys, why not be spending this time with a chaplain, with a pastor, and getting right with God and being at peace with the idea that they're going to be leaving this earth pretty soon, within a few months. That's what they should be doing, right?
Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Firmin Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you could trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com.
So Vice President Kamala Harris raised eyebrows over the Labor Day weekend when she spoke at a rally in Detroit, Michigan, unveiling what critics are calling a new accent. Harris spent Monday, on Labor Day, in the Motor City, hoping to shore up some blue-collar union workers there, I suppose. This is a critical battleground state, of course, and she wants to keep it blue in the November election. She needs the help of these folks badly. She has to win Michigan. She needs to add Michigan to her list. So I guess she thinks if she goes to Michigan and she tries to sound like what she, I guess, assumes people in Michigan sound like, that they're going to support her. Now, this is not the first time she's tried this. She's been accused of changing her voice, changing her accent to fit the people she believes are listening to her. So let's take a minute. I want you to hear this for yourself. Don't take my word for it. I want you to hear Kamala Harris speaking to a group in Detroit, Michigan, and then we're going to talk about whether or not you think she has purposely changed her accent to fit this audience. Here's the Vice President.
You better thank a union member for the 5-day work week. You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
All right, am I just imagining this? But don't you think she sounds a lot different there? I mean, isn't she just really trying to pander to these people? Look, if I'm someone from Detroit and I'm sitting there listening to her, I'm offended. I'm offended that she's trying to sound like what our people sound like. I don't even know if that's what people in Detroit sound like. Look, I was there a few months ago. I went to a very large rally that my colleague Charlie Kirk had. With his Turning Point USA, President Trump was there and spoke. I don't recall people in Detroit sounding like that. The conservative X account, Johnny MAGA, shared this clip, knocking Harris's, quote, Detroit speech, calling the vice president cringe and fake. And boy, did he get a lot of response. Others, Trump senior advisor Stephen Miller reacted. This is her 7th new accent in 4 weeks. She has literally never used this accent before. She grew up in Canada, phoniest politician in all of politics. Professor and podcast host Gad Saad said, there are countless traits that I despise in humans, few as much as inauthenticity. Others commented as well. GOP strategist Matt Whitlock said, all of politics is a performance to Kamala Harris. She changes fake accents like she changes policy positions and political personas. Today she's talking in a fake Southern accent, pretending to be a moderate. Next week she'll be back to San Francisco liberal. Now, he talked about, he joked about Southern. But you remember not too long ago when she was speaking to a group in Atlanta, this was just after it was apparent she was going to be the Democrat nominee, and she was in Atlanta. Let's listen to that Kamala Harris and tell me if you hear a difference in her Southern accent.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So let's get right down.
Wow. This is amazing to me. The Trump campaign drew attention to her, quote, cringe accent in another clip where Harris tells a rally goer, let's just get through the next 64 days. How about that? Before letting out one of her cackling laughs. Libs of TikTok reacted. What did I just watch? What's with this new accent? The fakeness and cringe here is off the charts. Other ex-users compared Harris's accent to the voice of iconic Looney Tunes character Foghorn Leghorn. And The Daily Show not long ago also did a comparison of her different accents. Here's The Daily Show's take on this.
Vice President Kamala Harris under fire for appearing to use what critics described as a French accent.
Very strange, weird, cringeworthy attempt at a French accent.
Vice President Harris appears to use a French accent. French accent. French accent. French accent.
We campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P, the plan. We're expected to defend the plan. The plan. The plan.
Biden administration continues to find new and creative ways to embarrass America on the world stage. Apparently thought that she could, smooth things over with a fake accent.
Mademoiselle Harris appearing to change her dialect when saying the plan.
She seems to come forth with some sort of an accent in a moment that really was embarrassing for her.
It's more than embarrassing on the world stage. Our adversaries watch that and see weakness.
This should worry all of us. She shows sort of no qualifications whatsoever. And the fake accents don't really cover up for that.
Somebody close to her has to help her. She obviously has, I think she has a drug or alcohol problem. I think, and I'm actually hearing some things.
The Washington Examiner described it as a poor man's attempt at imitating Jacques Cousteau.
If you can't speak French, don't try. Does she not know how stupid she looks, right? And she's not going to get ruthlessly mocked for being such an idiot?
If she is suffering from addiction, I hope genuinely she gets help.
I'm not sure how you help that. I mean, really, can you believe this? Think about that. She tries a Southern accent, which is in the South. She tries, I don't know what you'd call the Detroit accent, really. I mean, how do you explain that? Let's listen to her in Detroit just on Labor Day. Let's listen to that one more time.
You better thank a union member for the 5-day work week. You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
What is that accent? What is she trying to imitate there? If you're getting this, if you understand it, please send me a text. Please email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Because, look, I kind of get the Southern accent. And, look, the fake French accent, that was pretty obvious, too. It's kind of like she was talking to someone in a foreign country, like you speak to a child, and that they don't understand you. I get that. But the accent in Detroit, is she just that stupid that she thinks people are going to fall for that? Are we going to fall for that? Maybe people are that stupid that she's going to go around the country and try to be a different person in different areas. Surely America's not that stupid, are we? Somebody convince me of that. Somebody help me out here.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.